Hello and welcome. I have decided to make a very short video, not necessarily to talk about Nigerian politics, but to appeal to members of Ipob to somehow embrace reason. For people like us, we are sick and tired of engaging in this constant battle of wits that has led us nowhere. Nigeria is not about Igbo's problem. The problem of Nigeria does not start and end with the problems of Igbos. Neither does it start and end with the problem of the Yorubas, the problem of the Yorubas, the problem of any tribe whatsoever. Nigeria has a tribe population of over 375. It will be sheer mischief for any single tribe to feel that his or her own problem supersedes the generality of the other tribes. Like I said, and I've said it severally, okay, let's not make this thing about any tribe. If you have noticed, I have tried to a large extent avoid making any videos that concern Ipob and the Igbos. Now, in the recent past, in the last 3 weeks or so, or a month or so, immediately I was released from Facebook ban. My focus was on the Southwest, particularly on Tinubu's presidency ambition. And I didn't hold any punches back. But one thing I noticed that I must commend the Yoruba people is that of all the things I said about Tinubu, of all the things I said about Yorubas, not one single person came to my inbox to say, useless man, stupid man, ashawo, slave, yeye man, old fool. Not one single person insulted me. I want to use this medium to say thank you for the Yoruba people for exhibiting exemplary culture. So you get me? For exhibiting that exemplary culture. I wasn't exactly surprised anyway that people did not come to my inbox to insult me. But it goes to show how certain cultures have imbibed the principle of respect in their culture. Now, I made a simple post. Perhaps it could be a caricature or a simple way of making mockery of the fact that the council representing the Nigerian government said and alleged that Nnamdi Kanu denied Ipob. Do you know that I received over 5 to 6 insults on my inbox? An outright direct insult, calling me ashawo pikin, slave, and every that. So what is it that is different from the Yoruba people that prevented them from insulting, even though they are offended? And what is it that was lacking that necessitates or easily provokes an average Ipob Igbo? Please, I'm referring to Ipob Igbo, not Igbos in general. What is it that is lacking that will make an Ipob Igbo go directly to my inbox to say, I'm a shawo pikin, an idiot? One even went to the extent of saying that the chair I'm using to do the videos is poor. I'm a poor man. Perhaps that's why I came to where I'm relaxing. Oh God. There are essence of life or essences of life that supersedes the embracing of money. Money does not define who you are. There are other attributes like integrity, truthfulness, awareness, trustworthiness. There are far more lives, there are far more reaching life's attributes that supersedes money. Now, when you make the acquisition of money as a determinant of your relevance in your culture, you lose everything. I am not here to attack any culture, but it just occurred to me that I said a lot of hurtful things about Tinubu and the Yoruba people. No one called me idiot. No one called me foolish man. No one called me any names. People just put up arguments to me. Now, these are people. This is what we call human being. This is what we call cultured. This is what we call the ability to embrace culturedness, if there's a word like that. When you have people who at the slightest provocation will throw away every means of decorum to resort to abusing, even up to the point of describing my chair as a chair belonging to a poor man. It goes to show how a certain people have lost values in their culture. Like I said, I am not attacking the culture of anybody, but it goes to show how much some people have lost the relevance of humility and humaneness in their culture. So on the case of Nnamdi Kanu, I've said it in several videos. I am not against the ideals or the perspective of the failures of Nigeria that Nnamdi Kanu has. But to tell me that it was Nnamdi Kanu that opened my eyes to the failure of Nigeria is an insult to the ability of my brain to assess issues around me. It's an insult. Where was Nnamdi Kanu when the great Fela Aníkúlá Pọ̀kútí sang about Nigeria and its atrocities? Where was Nnamdi Kanu when Idris Abdulkarim sang Nigeria Jaga Jaga, everything scatter scatter? So don't make this Nigerian problem about Nnamdi Kanu. We all know it. Since before Nnamdi Kanu took to the radio station or to the media station to announce, we all know everything about it. But it's the approach. Everybody have different approach. Just because you make so much noise about it and you come, what's the idea of making so much noise? At the end of the day, you sheepishly brought yourself to be arrested by the Nigerian government. Just when they decided to arrest you, they arrested you. It shows you lack tact, you lack self-preservation, you lack strategy. I cannot talk so much about Nigeria and be abroad, and then Nigeria will come and pick me abroad. It's not possible. Because I would have calculated that I've said so much about Nigeria, and I know the risk I've put myself. And because of the risk that I've put myself, it will also measure up to the amount of security I will beef on around me. But for the Nigerian government to pick you and sneak you into Nigeria, it shows you don't have that tact of self-preservation. So, I have vowed not to talk about Ipob and their Ohe Biafra and their supreme leader and all the shenanigans that are called that subject. But for somebody to come to my inbox to call me a poor man, you don't need to be a rich man to talk about the Nigerian situation. I've been alive, my brother. Do you need to be a rich man? You don't. You don't need to be anything. It's the human feeling and our level of sensibility that enables us to talk about the issues of Nigeria. So if I'm sensible enough or I have the necessary sensitivity to be touched by the issue of Nigeria and I have a poor man's chair, I don't need to be seated in a flamboyant environment to talk about Nigeria's issue. When you have, I don't have anything, like I said, I don't have anything about the perspective of Nnamdi Kanu to the Nigerian situation. But to influence a whole generation to be irrational in their thinking, to be miscalculating in the assessment of their political challenge, goes to show that such a person was not calculating. There are so many things, but I don't want to make this video about the ineptitude of Nnamdi Kanu's style of agitation. For instance, calling an agitation a struggle is a self-submission that you have been defeated. I would rather refer to it as a cause. There's a cause to be free. And I've asked, free from what? We have everything to be more powerful than the Fulanis. But we have placed our mind in a position where we believe We are the subservient, and the people who are less powerful than us are more powerful than us. I just saw a picture today somebody sent to me where the governor of Imo State was on his knees begging the caliphate to be relevant. Why would any Southerners go on his knees when the North is practically feeding on the wealth of the South? Now, I don't expect that my political views should align with everybody. But please, just because my views differs with you, don't come to my inbox and call me poor man, useless man, ashawo pikin, idiot. Because I'm entitled to my opinion. Because at the end of the day, they are mere opinions. I can level this now because. Take for instance, I've been drinking this beer for quite some time. I've never noticed this beer to have any association with Biafra. But because of these stars, they say that it is the rising sun. It is Biafra beer. I don't know how people think. We are all Nigerians. We are all touched by the atrocities of the Buhari government and its Fulani cabal. Rather than align a mindset that brings everybody who is affected to attack this problem as a collective people that have been affected, you make these things about yourselves. The Yorubas are making the problem of Nigeria about themselves. Today now we are talking about presidency in 2023. The Yorubas are suddenly angling to take over again, even though they are aware that they've had a shot with Obasanjo for 8 years. What about the Biroms? What about the Jarawas? What about the Igbos? What about the Robos? What about the Shekris? Because in their mindset, in the mindset of these three major tribes, Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, the rest of the tribes, they mean nothing. They don't have, they are irrelevant. They should just be citizens of Nigeria and let leadership rotate among these three major tribes. We can't have a Nigeria like that. For me, I want an Igbo president come 2023. Just because a part of me says that let things go round for equity, for the sake of equity. But for someone to come to my inbox to call me poor man just because I made a simple post, I didn't insult Nnamdi Kanu, neither did I praise him. But if I have to choose between praising Nnamdi Kanu and criticizing him, I will say he's a very poor strategic and a very loud-mouthed activist. You talk too much. You talk and talk and talk and talk, and you don't have strategies. How can you, after saying so much about Nigeria, after inciting a lot of violence in Nigeria, you allow yourself to be picked so easily by people who talk less but act more sensibly? When was it? They just announced that they are going to give 100 million for anybody who give any useful information, and the next week you were caught. When the Fulanis were announcing that ransom for you to be caught, that is when you should have put the volume of your self-consciousness, self-awareness to the highest volume. But even with that threat, when an outside man comes and makes a threat, it doesn't make, they are not like us who just make it, I go blow your head, I go bust both your head, they craze. They are not like us who just brag for bragging's sake. When they threat, okay. When I see somebody coming to call me fool, idiot, useless man, yeah man, it makes no sense. This quarrel between us and the South should stop. When I talk about the Yoruba man, it's not a deliberate mischief to attack the Yoruba people. I'm just attacking what is making it impossible for us to have a sense of unity. When I attack the Igbo man, I am attacking that area that is preventing us from us to work together. By the way, I don't believe in Southeast. I don't believe in Southwest. I don't believe in South. I believe in the southern people of Nigeria. It is our inability to allow our mind to transcend this Fulani dichotomy of South, Southeast, Southwest that has kept us in this perpetual vulnerability to the Fulani manipulation. And it's almost like as if we will never want to separate ourselves from this tribal division. When the Fulani Caliphate were, orchestrating this 6 geopolitical zone, it was done in a special way to harness those very reasons that keeps us different. They gathered all the central Igbo tribe and named them Southeast. We Southeasterners, and gave you 5 states, and you begin to feel you are a region. You are not a region. You're not even close to being a region. But because you are greedy and selfish, you want to feel you are a region. And they gathered all those who have grievances with the Igbos and named them South. And we are happy. We are South. And the only thing we know is to fuel grievances against the Igbos. And we are happy. And they gathered all